Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another CLT podcast. I'm your host, CLT Pathfinder. With me is CLT Shade, and we have an awesome guest this weekend, General Manager of Simplicity Gaming. Is it Coach? Coach of CATAWBA Gaming,
Yeah, coordinator, coach, yeah,
Coordinator
esports,
Coach, and
whatever.
Esports guy.
Gidd
Yeah,
Sasser joining us here. Welcome, Gidd.
how we doing, y'all?
Thanks for coming on, man. I know it's hard to take time out of your day to come and do these things
Yeah,
sometimes.
no, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's gonna be fun.
Heck
I've
yeah.
got, I haven't used Skype in like 3 years. I'm still trying to figure this out right now. I was like, wait a minute, I still have an active account.
I already managed to figure out the blur background, so
Oh yeah, I was like, "Ooh, what's this? Click. This is great.
I know.
Yeah. We we are old school because Skype works for us and we're not able to figure out Discord at this point because it always
However,
crashes.
however, I will say this just for everyone watching: we shall have a studio soon that we'll be doing this out of. So
Oh, that's
keep
right. Yeah.
keep on the lookout. We won't have to do it remotely.
Yeah, the
So it's gonna be
podcast
a
is moving to an
First.
actual location, which is going to be great.
yep. It's gonna have state of the art equipment. We're we got to figure out how to run it. But other than that, it's gonna be great.
That's
So,
great.
Gid, tell me about. So, I don't know. We've only talked like very briefly a couple times. So, like, give me your synopsis on like who you are, how you got into esports, and what you're doing currently.
Yeah. So the short story to a long story. Again, my name's Gid. Currently general manager of Simplicity Esports, which is a publicly traded company, and the coordinator and head coach, uh, esports at Catawba College. I started esports, which then would have been just professional gaming, about 10 years, probably a little over 10 years ago, in LAN centers, and since then have coached for the Detroit Renegades, a couple colleges now. Have GM'd and or own other teams in the contenders Overwatch scene. So just kind of been all over the place.
That's pretty awesome. Are you from Charlotte locally or like?
Yeah, right outside of it actually. I grew up in the Concord Harrisburg area. So if anybody local knows where J.M. Robinson is, the high school, I grew up there before there were houses. It was just cow pastures and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
cool. So when you started, like, did you always wanted to get into like a manager role, or like were you a player originally, or like what was the
oh,
process?
no way, dude. I was like a selfish, greedy player, like always. Like I came up my scene was like Halo, Call of Duty,
Oh,
and Star Wars Battlefront, the original around here. So I was
oh
kind of
yeah.
like the local ringer, and just played a lot then. And then I went to game development, like design and whatnot for college, and that's when it kind of shifted. I was like, man, being a player kind of sucks. Like, I mean,
Yeah, the
it
benefits just
doesn't, but yeah.
well, they back then it really there wasn't.
Mm.
I mean, you weren't making money as a player 10 years ago. Now it's like players are making like good salaries.
Oh yeah. It was hard to explain to mom and dad why I was up to like 5 in the morning every night playing a game, only to bring home like $20 a week. So
Yeah.
Sure, now you're like, see, mom and dad.
yeah, it's like, oh, I've got a salary. Like, hey, let's go.
I always think about that. I think about like if like I was 16 nowadays, the things I would be doing to set myself up to be like a player full time because like and Josh, you can agree with me. I don't know how you are, Gid, but like being like 30, like I can't see things like I used to. Like I'm not as fast with my reactions and I just can't compete like I used to because it's just so much harder now. My body's just like my eyes can't keep up, my mind's not as fast. Like the stuff just doesn't happen like it used to.
Yeah. Did you play the Modern Warfare beta?
Yeah, dude, all
Yeah,
weekend long.
I got clowned on the entire time. I was like, wait a minute, when the original came out, I'm over here like winning and dominating, and then I jump into this. I'm like, oh, what
Oh
am I
man,
doing?
well, yeah. I
So
feel that, dude. It was fun though. Did you enjoy the beta?
yeah, I liked it actually. I liked it. It's probably I think it's too early to say it's my favorite just because it's the beta, but it felt like I was 18 again.
Oh,
It
there
was
you
like,
go.
all right.
Was that your game or like what you said Battlefield, I know, but like what was like the game that you competed with the most and
No, he
maybe
said
like
Star Wars Battlefront, my
Battlefront.
guy.
Yeah,
Battlefront.
yeah.
Okay.
That's where it really was
I was
at.
a
Whoa.
special player, man. Yeah, I played a lot of Battlefront on like the X-Fire, X-Split kind of ladder. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I
But
remember it,
I
but
played.
I wasn't like too familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah. It was basically like, I don't know, Battlefied meets Discord of this, TeamSpeak kind of thing of that day. I think it shut down years ago. But I played for what then would have been like a clan called the Reserves, which is basically a knockoff 501st kind of wannabe thing. I played weeklies in that for shoot 2 years or so, and I think we only lost one match if I ever remember that. The shitty thing is the scene then you only played on Bespin City and Cloud City. They were the only balanced maps because if you kind of got out and snuck around, you could only go so far. Everything else was like glitched or broken.
When
So,
was this? What year?
dude, I don't know when did the game come out.
This
I
is when
was
Napster was around.
Yeah, right. I was thinking like,
No, it was gosh man, PlayStation 2?
2004. So yeah, like 2000.
jeez.
PS2?
Yeah, yeah, that would have been the PS2, PC. Like you're still running like dual core PCs at the time. Like the 9800 was the best GPU on the market.
Wow, dude.
Oh man,
That's crazy.
Good times.
Did you play
That was a
Halo?
good
I did play Halo. I played a lot of Halo. I played around here, the local scene. But my buddy, I don't know if maybe you heard of him, Halo God, 117. He was probably the best in the area at that time. So I just got styled on him. But he played on the MLG ladder
Okay.
a lot. So it,
That's funny. I know a few other locals that played competitively too. I know White Shadow was from here. He played competitively. And then Roman, the manager at Microsoft,
Mhm.
he played competitive. But I think he was competitive Call of Duty
Yeah, I
though,
played Call of Duty.
like
Yeah,
Black
there's
Ops.
a lot of like old school shooter dudes still here, like remaining. I was like, man, what was it? Halo God was actually over at my place over the weekend speed running. I was like, what?
What?
I was like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, dude, I got to get this under 4 minutes. Like, okay. It's he's at the top of the leaderboard for all of us. I was like, all right, I'm never getting there, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny about like speedrunning. Watching speedrunning like videos are like the cringiest things ever. It's like a group of like 10 dudes sitting in a empty like convention room. It's just like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like what else are y'all doing? They're just sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, I mean, cool. But yeah, I feel like if I were gonna run a speedrunning event, dude, it would be lit. It'd be the one you'd want to go to. It'd be like the super dope one.
Yeah.
Like I would hire models to come out just so it's not like all dudes.
Oh yeah, like the Russian CS:GO tournament or something, where they brought in like models and strippers and stuff to try and distract their competition. Like
What?
that was a real thing. I think I saw Tristan in chat. He's a CS:GO guy. If you
Okay.
could porn stars, okay, I'm sorry, I was a little.
What?
I was
Like
a little
in the front row of the
PG, but-
audience or what?
Oh, they were in the audience. I'm pretty certain there's a VP versus Moscow 5. Oh no.
They
Hold
were
on.
on. He said they're on the stage. That's
Like,
nuts,
yeah, they were in
dude.
people's faces and stuff while playing, trying to distract everybody. It didn't work, like, but
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, look at the people that are playing. Like,
Yeah,
those
like
gamers,
glued to their
like,
TV.
dude,
They pull up an extra tab on their computer instead.
like, can you please get away from me? No.
yeah,
CS:GO players, bro. When they're in it, like, they're. So I had my first like encounter with like a CS:GO major event at GexCon. Oh man, me and CJ were like, they had League of Legends stuff right next to it. So our team was playing. Our team couldn't even hear themselves talking on comms because of how loud those guys were.
yeah.
So it was pretty
They're like
intense.
Call of Duty kids. Like they're really similar. I would imagine Rainbow Six Siege kids are probably the same
Yeah,
too.
yeah. We actually have that issue with Overwatch at the college where like if they're practicing and playing, all you hear is screeching and yelling. And it's like, guys, please, like,
I think
you
of
gotta
like screeching,
stop.
like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, but oh god, my wife's calling me. I'll text her. mean, I'll text her back. She knows. She knows what time it is.
So
Um,
go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say, so how'd you end up at CATAWBA? I know a lot of people aren't sure. A lot of people still are trying to like warm up to like esports and like collegiate, and so, a lot of people want to know, hey, how'd you get to Catawba? Like, well, I know how you got there because the girl who started the program I graduated high school with, but
Yeah, yeah.
small
Uh,
world.
okay, I'll explain it from my point of view.
There
It's
you go. Yeah.
it was a real long trip. About 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I can't remember anymore. I chose to commit to esports like full time. So I actually left my job in IT over
Smart man.
Christmas break, by the way. So
Oh,
maybe
not
not
not so
smart,
much smart
not
man.
smart. But I had a job lined up to go to kind of like part time at that. I mean, that's when I was focusing on Overwatch, worked with Renegades, built that out. And then one day I got like a message, hey dude, there's this college looking, this is before CATAWBA, there's this college uh, looking for a coach. Do you mind if I throw your name out? It's like, oh no, I don't. So my name got thrown out around a couple people, and then I was asked to apply to it. It was a college out in Kansas, and I got the job. I went out there. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Things weren't exactly the dream that you kind of thought it would be, um, which is a good example of why a lot of colleges aren't ready for esports. They don't do it for the right reason, and I can talk about that later. But while
Oh yeah,
out there, do what?
we could talk about that for all night.
Ooh, you don't even want to know. But yeah, no. While out there, it's like okay, there's some things I disagree with here. Maybe I'll look into moving back to the East Coast, which is where I primarily work like in esports and Catawba. Literally, like at 2 in the morning, I'm on my phone, just pops up on Google, and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't seen this before. Applied, started talking, and the rest is history. It was just I feel like for me a perfect fit, but also the first school that I talked to that wasn't like a Power Five kind of college
Hmm.
that really wanted to get into esports the right way. That makes sense. Like not the hey, we're gonna use this as a gimmick and try and make a ton of money.
So,
Uh,
but so how did was it working with regular orgs like Renegade that kind of like built your resume enough for colleges to be like, "Hey, come work for us"? Cuz like I would imagine that transition's a little different because they're trying to like build their programs out and they have a lot of ways that they want to run stuff, right? So like I don't know how you become like a qualified candidate in um like the college world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think what helped me more was the practical job history more than the esports. I think at least for the first college,
Sure.
that was what they were looking for. They wanted to see, okay, hey, do you know esports? Cool, like that's great, whatever. But do you know how to manage? Do you know how to work a program? And I had the work history of just being like in management and IT and risk management, all that stuff. So,
Dude, don't even
um,
get me started on IT. CJ gets texts from me daily about working in IT and like the fun with that. So I get it, man. Like I get it. Like when you like, man, I'm glad that you worked in IT because you understand the struggle. Like when you have all these like work orders and tickets and stuff in to go fix, because I'm like help desk
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And when I get those work orders and I get like questions, I'm just like, that are obvious answers. I'm like, just closer and every day it's closer and closer to that dream.
Oh man, have you ever gotten the hey, we got a switch that won't turn on. How
Oh,
do we
dude,
fix it?
I got something even better, man. I work at a retirement community, so I actually work on the residential side.
Mhm.
So I help retirees with their IT issues. So like my TV's not working is a big one, which is actually just you're on the wrong input. So I have to go up to their room and click the input on the remote control, and they're like, "Oh, you're magic. How'd you do it?" I'm like, "Oh,
You know what?
it's
Yeah,
it's character building though. That's the way I look at it. You're building character by doing
right,
that."
right, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I look at it like I'll be one of those people one day. We'll be at like holograms and stuff. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, how do I work this?
How,
Yo, Pop, like you just gotta look at it. Look at it.
how
What?
did how did you go? Like, how did you make that transition though? Like, did you just decide one day, like, hey, I'm gonna do esports full time and like have a gig lined up, or was it very much like you just quit your job and then tried to figure it out from there?
Uh, when I left IT, I knew I had like a 50-50 shot at having a job lined up. It was
Dude, tell me
basically
there's
like,
a chance.
yeah. It was kind of like, here's how much money I have in savings. Here's how far I can make it. I'm confident I'll find like at least a part-time job, which still wouldn't have been enough, but is better than nothing.
Sure.
And I did. Really grateful for that. But it was a huge risk. Looking
What'd you
back,
do? What was the first part-time gig?
so I had worked like the customer service and front end like management stuff for Food Line actually, like while I was going to school. Then went into IT, and then I ended up getting an offer to come back and work like basically just open from 5 to whatever and manage their front end and their bank and do all their money orders and stuff, um, which was cool because I'd get up, get out of work at like 12 or 2, and then be up to like 2 or 3 in the morning and do the same thing. So not that good, but
So actually
uh,
not that good. That's funny.
but it was a paycheck. So
Yeah. And then, so how did you end up like finding simplicity after that?
oh, that's a long story.
Yeah, I want to hear it,
Um,
man. I'm trying to get into cause I feel like
dude,
a lot of our viewers they watch to like figure out how they can get involved in esports. So like I'm trying to create more of like the picture of like, hey, what does it look like to path to esports? Cause it's a little scary, right? Like
yeah,
there's a lot of uncertainties in like how you get there.
it's a lot of
Mhm.
risk.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stupid stuff that you should never do, but you have to. Like, I guess it's the best way. You guys probably know that really well. Like, you just have to basically do something you
That's my
never would have done. Like,
that's literally
realistically,
me every day, and CJ's like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm going for it. I don't even care."
it's. I mean, yeah, you either find out it was a bad idea or you don't. Like, I don't know. It's 50-50, really. But yeah, no. So while I was doing the whole thing with Renegades and whatnot, eventually we parted ways, and that team transitioned into Sky Foxes. At the time, it was the Seattle Sky Foxes.
Mhm.
So we got into a little trouble with Blizzard because the branding and everything was so good that people thought we were an Overwatch team. This is a true
Oh,
story.
that's funny, really.
We actually had to talk with them. We're like, hey, okay, we'll bring it down a notch. So we
Sorry, we're so
nixed.
good.
Yeah. Basically, it's like, yeah, we're good enough for this, but we're getting yelled at. So we were a contenders team. So we removed the Seattle part. I GM'd that for a while. Scoreline wise, not anywhere near the best team in the league ever, but we always requalified. A lot of those players are on full ride scholarships now, are playing in other like academy salary teams and whatnot. So it's really good.
Okay.
Um, then that's when the first college kind of happened right around that time. Left that, went to CATAWBA, started a new team, Bermuda. Now, little known
Like the
story.
Bermuda
Yeah,
Triangle.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I'll link it for you here in a second, so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. But that's kind of when simplicity started coming in. So the whole idea with starting Bermuda actually started from an idea of, hey, the GM at the time on Simplicity was like, hey man, like we need some help. Our social media isn't that great. We're also kind of like looking at getting back into Overwatch. Do you mind coming on board? I was like, oh yeah, sure, totally. It's a paycheck. Like, why wouldn't I? And it's a good like org and brand that I've enjoyed. So we did that, and then Bermuda actually ended up being that GM's like personal funded. Like, he went out and wanted to start his own thing. It was like, boom, here it is. And so I kind of ran the show on that. There was a chance that it would have become the the Simplicity Overwatch team, but it didn't.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
and along those lines, there were creative differences. Is what I'm going to say.
Sure.
Um, the political part between the GM then and Simplicity. So they all parted ways, and I was just kind of sitting there like, what do I do? Like, I'm
Sure.
still
Awkward.
here.
Yeah.
And then just one day, I mean, it just happened. I got on the phone with the president, and then later, uh, there's two presidents actually. I learned this afterwards. And then the owner, Jed Kaplan, who is also minority owner of the Memphis Grizzlies, and they offered me the shot at kind of taking over the company and GMing it. The rest is history. It's been a crazy ride the last couple of months, and I get less sleep than I think I ever have in my life.
Hell yeah, dude.
Um,
What's sleep?
yeah, that's. But I mean, I wouldn't change it. It's been fun. I've met a lot of people. Um, I've done a lot of things that I never thought I would get to. Even like it's every time I get to a new step, it's like, wait, what? Like this is new. This is a new adventure. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Sure.
And then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready. I know everything I need to know, and then something else hits me, and I'm like, oh no! All right, Justin.
That was awesome, dude. He just threw his Twitter up when he pushed the button. Sorry, I didn't know you could do that with Skype.
Yeah, I just found that out too, so that's my bad. Uh,
That's hilarious. Okay,
but
so I want to shift a little bit because
yeah,
I think that like you probably have a very wide range of things you've done for some of these orgs, and I think that's super cool because as we talk about like bringing in, we talk about this actually relatively often, but like in a Charlotte Esports Summit where like we bring in all the people that care about esports in the area and then try and like get everybody on the same page. Maybe it's for like one event or just an initiative to like bring more events to Charlotte as a whole, or
yeah.
that like the Rainbow Six Major that was in Raleigh. Like we want to bring that here to Charlotte instead of it being over there. So when we talk about that, like what do you see from the college scene that's like the big thing around that needs to happen that can support the city, or is there, or like a lack of?
Uh, yeah, lack of actually. I think there's more a lack of than what there is. I think the biggest thing that needs to happen first is every community needs to find a way to come together and work together for anything like what happened in Raleigh to
Yeah,
even start. So like it, I'm not saying like oh yeah like CLT Esports has to merge with anybody or something. I'm just saying like if everybody's doing their own like big event, it's just gonna continue to pull like who you're trying to talk to
Yeah.
away. And it's you can see like like especially like you guys, you can see the frustration where it's like you wanna get things going, but there's like hesitation from one group or the other, and it's something kind of like even I recognize. Like I was like, wait a minute, am I like one of these people too? And I've spent the last like bit like reflecting, like what is there I can do? Like maybe if I'm not like expressing it, but if I'm more vocal on this, maybe the people who do like follow me or listen will start to open up and kind of like, okay, let's see, and then they start doing it, and then the next group starts doing it, and then in a year's time we're all working together, even if we're a different org name. I think that's the first step.
yeah, and that's what
Uh,
like the summit would do is try and like pull everybody together to get them like
yeah,
collective minds going the same direction. And I think like we're starting a new series on the podcast where we bring on a bunch of like the colleges, and you're the first of that kind of series. Like, hey, this is CATAWBA and this is what they're doing. So like, what I don't know what teams you guys have. If you guys want to talk about the program a little bit and what that looks like.
yeah. As far as teams go, we have all the major ones like Overwatch, League of Legends, Rocket League. You go down the list. I
Sure.
mean, esports. But the program itself, I like to say, is a little different
Sure.
than what you would typically see. I think a lot of the esport orgs they're building a program and they're looking at okay like what degrees can we put in, how many scholarships can we offer to be competitive, But one of the first things I say, and what I hold true to this day, is when somebody joins my program, I say I don't care how many championships we win, because at the end of the day, when you graduate, nobody's going to care about the 2 collegiate championships you won. They're going to say, okay, well, what else did you do with that? Because knowing how to play is not going to get you a job in, banking. Like,
Sure.
if that's what your degree is in. I'm not saying that's always the case, but that's what I try to point out. Is like, my job is going to be to, hey, give you the best chance to win, um, and to compete. But at the end of it all, I want you to come out with a job. I want you to know where you're going, whether that's esports or a degree. And so far, we have placed about every junior or senior, which we don't have any seniors, but I'll say junior level, since most of them are transfers. Any
Uh-huh.
of them that have gone out and been like, "Hey, coach, I really want to try and get a job," are now currently working at least part time with an org while they're still in college.
Cool. That's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
so I think we're holding true to that. You'll see other schools like that, Maryville, Harrisburg, big ones, Boise State, they do it
Yeah.
too.
Sure. Well, that should be like what the program does, right? Because like,
Yeah, yeah.
not everyone can be a professional player. Not even everyone can be a top amateur player. But what they can do is develop their skill set to where when they get out of college, they can do something in esports, right? Because it's not just being a
Yep.
player. It's a manager. It's an event coordinator. It's a social media director. It's a graphic designer. It's a videographer. Like whatever. And all these options exist for them.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, it's like, it's just like the real world. I mean, every 6 months, what could have been hot and you needed a job in might not be the case. Like you just said, graphic designers. What I'm seeing, like in the T2, T3 scenes,
Yeah.
everybody needs one,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. I think
But
we need
not.
one.
Yeah, yeah. Like you need it, but then like 6 months from now, it might be, well, we just hired every graphic designer possible. We don't need this anymore. We need somebody to manage them.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
and so adaptability, I think, is the other thing colleges need to prepare students for. Again, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, once you get like your 30s, 40s, or whatever, you might not be able to compete the same you were when you were 20 in school.
Sure. But
Down in a way. So,
I can yell at teenagers though. Do that.
yeah, yeah, that's my every day. I do it every day.
That's hilarious. Um, so are there any big initiatives you're working on over at CATAWBA right now
Yeah. I don't.
that you're allowed to talk about?
Okay, I'll give like a little hint, and by that I'll just tell you. We are working on a little like docu series, and hopefully we'll have the trailer for it out this Friday, for Family Weekend. That'll kind of follow our teams and who we are, and give
Sure.
everybody around here.
So is it like one big esports documentary, or is it like each team that you're following?
It'll be episodic. So
Okay.
if you've ever seen stuff like TSN Legends and
Yep.
whatnot, the goal is not so much to put up like a 4K quality video that everybody's going to be, man, I can see everything super pretty, but allow the athletes and the people who go to the school, that are more interested in the broadcasting and the producing side, a shot at really leading that while also showing everybody what the program is on a day-to-day basis.
That's awesome.
Uh, so that's our big project that I can say right now.
Cool. No, I think that's like honestly, if there were a way for the colleges to make money and to see return, it would be to create a YouTube channel and to follow those kids around. You know what I mean? Like that would be the best way for them to make money. And once they saw that tangible, like I think you could do so much with that, like creating your esports center based off of the money you get from that and then putting sponsors in those videos, another thing, like and then building your brand out and doing all kinds of different stuff. Like colleges should be doing that stuff, and I have yet to see one that even like Harrisburg does a great job competing, but I don't even think they do a great job creating content, honestly.
Yeah, they're a different program,
They are.
obviously, and different
Yeah.
style. I think Maryville released like an episode not too long ago, maybe a week ago or something. But yet, no, I agree. I think it's very few and far between that there are schools, colleges, universities that are kind of looking at it like, okay, what can we do other than playing and saying we have a degree? Like,
Sure. Yeah.
how can we bring in the eyeballs and sponsors and all that stuff, but also it at the same time it's a portfolio, right? Not just for the school, but for your student athletes. Like now you're following them and you're seeing them, how they react on video, you know, orgs that they want to go work for and play, they'll be able to see that. They'll be, okay, how did this person react a year ago to a situation that might not have been, what they wanted? And you can see it live, close to live, but you can see how they did. Um, I mean, that's esports. Everybody, decisions almost always come down to, are they a good player? Yes. Okay, how old are they? Are they legal to play? Yes.
Are they from
Okay, what's their
Korea?
social? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then what's their social media like? What are
Sure.
their videos like? And it's always, and you have everybody going through that, and
Yeah.
so I think that's a really key point is like how that affects somebody's
Do
resume.
you guys struggle with like getting the academic side of the deans and the directors of the school to be like to support the program at a level there where you can be super successful?
Oh no, not here.
Oh, really?
So yeah, yeah. So from top to bottom, CATAWBA, that's pretty much, from my understanding, why I even have a job here. The provost, the dean, everybody was on board into developing this program. I actually work directly under the dean of students and VP of student success. So
Okay.
he is my day-to-day boss. His office is literally like 15 feet away from the esports arena, so he can hear everything, which is good and bad sometimes. But he's always in there. I mean, when I say I fell in love with this school, that was one of the reasons, like how supportive everybody is on campus.
Sure.
Well,
Um,
and also, you were also telling me that aren't you guys moving to the new facility? You guys will be moving out of.
yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
oh,
can
that's
we
a
talk about
secret.
that?
That's a secret, Josh. You can't tell anybody. No food
Oh yeah,
facility.
I won't say anything.
We are eyeballing. I'll say it as if it is an if, but
I was gonna
we're
say your
yeah.
deans told us like it was. They were like, "Oh yeah, here's the plan." I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, if the boss man said it, then nah. They're
"Yeah,
gonna
no, I get
they're
you."
gonna watch this and they're gonna be like, Gid, what are you doing? Nah.
It's okay. Our
Chats, if
podcast
you're
only get
calling.
like 50 views on YouTube, so you're good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've got people in chat already
Nah,
calling out.
It's just Tristan. You're good, dude.
That's my assistant coach, actually.
Oh, okay.
So,
What's up, Tristan?
yeah, no, we are looking at um, another spot to move into. I'll say that it is the most exciting thing about it is that it'll have air conditioning like central to that room.
I don't know if
Like,
that's a good thing that that's the most exciting thing.
well, the current room shares with the building, so we're completely dependent on, okay,
Yeah.
if the other side's cold, well, we're gonna be hot, and if we're
Yeah.
hot, the other side's. I mean, if
Yeah,
we're cold, the other side's hot.
Well,
So, uh,
that's
yeah. CJ
cool.
hasn't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it. I know. So Winthrop was telling me that they have an esports arena that they're building. It's a computer lab, and they're building it out, and it's supposed to be really decked out. And they invited us to come hang
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Have you talked to Josh? Josh
Yeah, actually,
Sykes?
I just talked to him the other day.
Oh,
His
dude.
brother works at CATAWBA, so
That's
we
hilarious.
we actually we joked the last time we were talking because he too is also working in the Midwest, and we were both like,
Yeah, and he moved out here. It's like the
yeah,
same story.
yep,
Winthrop found him, and they're like, "Hey, you want to coach us?" And he was on a really successful team, from what I understand, too.
yeah. We actually, I think, when I was in Kansas, I think we were rival schools. Like
Oh,
we were in
okay.
the same division.
Yeah.
And man, it feels good to have someone to talk to that knows exactly what you were thinking, like
Yep.
while you're out there. Yeah, no, they're a good group. They just were at Hugh Fest. I wished them luck.
Are you
Uh,
guys planning like local like competitions with each other where you can like sell tickets for people to come watch them play?
we haven't talked that far, but we have talked about it meeting up and just kind of seeing each
I think
other's
that would be awesome, dude.
facilities
If you
and
got
stuff.
like 3 or 4 colleges in the area to all like go compete in local stuff and do like, bi-weeklies or whatever.
Yeah. It's something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
Logistics. I know, like for my program, I can answer that question and say, yeah, we'd love to do it. We could do it, but I can't answer it for the
Them.
other schools.
Sure. It's also, I mean, right now it's like everyone's baby and nobody wants to like play with each other because they're like, how much do you know? Do I know more than you? Like they're kind of like playing the game of like, still like new to market and like who's figured stuff out at this point.
Yeah,
So like you're ahead in different areas or they're ahead in other areas kind of
it's the
thing.
most frustrating. I hate it, man. I'm trying not to cuss. It's the most frustrating thing. I'm like, just take my knowledge, please. There are some things I can't talk about because obviously each school wants
Sure.
they're
Yeah.
hush hush. But for the most part, it's like guys, like if I know something, I want to tell you. If you know something, there's always stuff I can learn.
Oh yeah.
They
We
never
learn,
end.
yeah, we're learning every day while we're doing this, you know, like it's okay to be learning. I think that's part of like it being a new industry. And I think it's really cool like cuz we met Nathan at Belmont Abbey. He came to the Call of Duty tournament earlier this month.
Yep.
Andrew who runs UNCC's Esports Club.
Yeah, he's my old intern
Oh,
actually.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Spoon.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I hope you're
Spoon.
watching this, Spoon.
He's probably not, but he'll be on. So we're gonna do Belmont Abbey, we're gonna do Winthrop, and then we're gonna do UNCC, all kind of getting on the podcast. And then honestly, I think it'd be really cool after all that to like bring you guys all together and do like an in-person podcast with everyone. And maybe
Oh,
that
I would
helps,
love
because
it.
that
Yeah.
was part of one of my initiatives. Like I wanted to connect all the esports schools from colleges, because I know you guys are competitors, but I think that there's a lot of avenues so you guys can work on some cool stuff together.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, UNCC is the college that I way back then. I left that all out, but did start with.
Oh really? Were
Actually,
you like in their esports program?
yeah, yeah. So I actually helped revamp it all.
Oh
I
cool.
was technically the esports director. So that was 3 years ago. Tristan, maybe you can help me. I don't know. 3, 4 years ago.
That's cool.
And then we rewrote the bylaws. So
I've
the
seen the
current
ball
land
house.
system,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, the new ones probably are new. I hope they're new. The ones I wrote were specifically to make sure shit could get done. Pardon the language, but the current land system at the time was built upon by the previous idea. It was cool. It was fun,
Yeah.
working with Kevin, who was the president and still works with UNCC. So to kind of see where Spoon and them are, I love them. I support them. I want to see bigger things from them, but Spoon is a goofball. Man, he's a goofball.
He is a
Uh, but
goofball. He's
but
definitely
he
a
is
goofball.
he's kind of sneaky though, man. He doesn't let people know how good he actually is. I mean, he's been in contenders as a manager and a player,
Yep.
at the top level. So he knows what he's doing.
You know what? I met him for the first time at our Call of Duty event. I had no clue who he was when he came up and started talking to me. I was with our other owner, Jeff Brokaw, and I literally texted Jeff. I was like, dude, I have no clue who this guy is. And then so Jeff was like, oh, hey, my name's Jeff, and like introduced him. He's like, oh, I'm Andrew. I was like, oh, that's who it is.
Yeah.
I felt so bad because like we never met in person. But dude, does
Yeah.
he not remind you of like if you gave him kind of like longer, shaggier hair and like maybe a little bit pointier nose, would he not look to the T like Frodo Baggins?
Oh, don't do that to me. I gotta pull that up now. Hold on.
I'm saying,
So
dude,
maybe he would. I don't know.
he's the same height. I mean, I'm just like I look. Maybe it was just like the way he like his demeanor was, but he was
Yeah.
like super happy, like
Yeah.
bubbly, like
He
what's up,
kind
man?
of. Hey, what's up? What's up, man?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's. Oh, I'm never not gonna see that now. Yeah,
Yo, we're gonna
that's
bring him on and tease him. Heck yeah! I'm so
that's
excited.
classic Andrew. Actually, I mean,
Super bubbly, yeah.
your story is like spot on to the first.
Why doesn't UNCC have like it's all managed by the kids? Like who's like the general manager of the program that's like an adult?
Politics. Man, we spent years when I was there, years trying to get more support from the university. Even after going like 10, Overwatch went 10-0, won
Yeah.
the Southern
You guys were
Division.
good.
Rocket League won the
Yeah.
Southern. I mean, every team was finishing top 16, and top 8 in some cases, and still. The way they do their support is here's thousands of dollars to host an event. Have fun. But no, you get an advisor. So basically,
Like
every
some teacher
club
that
or
gets like
org,
like thrown at you that like go hang
right,
out with these
right.
kids. Yeah, who
So
doesn't care?
luckily, Kevin, the former president of the org, is their current advisor. So
Okay.
he's kind of overseeing it.
Cool.
from the background. The students kind of take charge, but for the most part, he makes sure they don't do anything too dumb. I get a lot of messages like, "Hey, Gidd, what should we do?" And I'm like, no, no, no,
No.
guys, go talk to Kevin. Like,
That's
New
funny.
phone, who
Yeah.
this?
You're like, I actually
yeah,
work for
yeah,
CATAWBA now. Okay. You want
yeah,
to come play for us?
yeah, right. Yeah. It's like I got scholarships, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. We
but no,
got
that's kind of how
scouts.
it works. That's how it works. They have had talks recently. So the new athletic director, it's not that they're not interested, but football's the big priority.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're D1 school, aren't they? Yeah.
yeah, yep, yep. So it'll be a couple years, I think, before we see anything groundbreaking happen there. But I think it's with like all colleges, it's just a matter
Sure.
of time.
Well, that's optimistic.
I mean, they
Couple
have
years.
the thing.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of it like, well, I started this like 4 years ago. The guy before me 2 years before that. Like,
Yeah.
maybe after almost a decade we'll be there. So who knows?
Honestly, they're gonna look at schools like Catawba and Winthrop and those schools and see how well they do with it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why it's really. I hate to put the pressure on you guys, but it's up to you guys to set the tone for all the schools in the area.
Yeah, don't do
So-
that.
He said, "Don't do that."
Just
to me."
saying.
You
You
can
have
do
that.
it. It's
With great power comes great responsibility.
just turn that video camera
Okay,
on, man. You got to
alright.
turn it into like a vlog style.
That's
Like you have to
Spider-Man?
invade.
Quote Spider-Man. All right.
Gotta invade these kids' space. Follow them into the dorm room. What do you do after practice? Oh, you're eating ramen noodles? Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, we gotta make sure. That's why I get to see the documentary before it goes live. Like, oh, man, what are they doing? They're jumping
I'm
on
excited.
the
Is that
bed.
gonna be on your YouTube channel?
Yeah,
the top of
so
YouTube?
we'll put it on. We'll put it. It'll be on the esports channel. We'll put it on all of them.
Okay.
So I would expect the trailer once it's done being edited and live. It'll only be a couple minutes, but
Cool.
after
I'll
that,
watch some.
we'll be shooting for hopefully the 15 to 25 minute mark for per episode.
You need to go, Josh. Okay, cool. I shouldn't
No,
know.
just mute my mic.
No, you're fine. That's sick. Tell me what you think esports is going to be in 5 to 10 years, and the best place to be in order to be successful from your eyes.
Ooh, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
I
this is
think
my
we'll
favorite
have-
question that people ask people in
Is this
esports.
collegiate? Right. This is like from a collegiate standpoint.
I mean,
Jason?
it could be either. I just like predict the industry so that we can look back at this video and then be like, oh, Gidd was right that one time, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or no, Gidd was wrong.
Gidd
Like,
was
what's
so
up?
wrong,
What's
dude.
he doing? No. I would expect there to be 2 or 3 more franchise leagues in the professional scene, not counting what we have now, like
What-
Call of Duty.
What games you think?
Overwatch. I don't know.
No, you gotta pick two. If you're gonna say that, you gotta pick which one.
I can't do that. I can't leak. I
Well,
can't leak.
You can't leak. You don't know. Stop, Gidd.
Oh, that's what you think.
Super
Big
Smash
brain.
Brothers
Big
franchise.
brain. Yeah, right, dude.
TFT franchise.
TFT. No, no. If I had to choose, probably Halo. I think Halo would be the
No.
next one.
Oh,
Yeah,
I will
dude.
bet you the
What about-
world that never happens.
I think there's another one already turning into that, but I'm not gonna say it because I don't know if I'm allowed to.
iRacing.
Rocket League. If you say Rocket League, I'm gonna be pissed, dude.
Oh, dude, I don't know anything.
I
about
could see
that.
Rocket League being a
Nippon does,
franchise.
dude. Since they got bought out by Epic, there has been nothing leaked about the future of Rocket League.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, that's a big thonker on me too. I have no clue.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, 2, 3. I'd say minimum 2, 3 franchise
Okay.
leagues.
So franchises. So that would be
yeah.
like where to get in, buying into franchises, getting
Um,
money.
Yeah, yeah. If you're an investor, do that. I do think the East Coast will absolutely explode in 5 years. I would be shocked if most of these teams do not move at least half of their operations to the East Coast
Yeah.
by then.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
I know some are already like looking at it, but I would be
So
shocked.
they can stay away. Give us 5 months, my guy. Give us
5 months?
5 months.
Okay. Yeah, hold off on that. for
Nah,
a year,
I welcome the
guys.
competition. Come on, whenever you
Uh,
want it, bring it on. Okay, I'll take it.
Look, I about had a heart attack when we found out that there was a possibility of someone coming to Charlotte for a Call of Duty franchise that
Always
wasn't
got
so in our
that.
group, and then we find out it was actually
We would know.
just someone misread that it was Rex Global because they're based out of Charlotte. But
Yeah,
they just bought they bought the London
But they're
Call of Duty
based out of Las
franchise.
Vegas. I don't know how like that comes because they're not out of Charlotte.
So a lot of the people, I know a couple of the guys that actually went, what, NC State, Chapel Hill, I can't remember
Yeah.
that worked there. And I think that's where that started. Was a lot of them were working remotely here for
We'll
that.
have to ask Jeff. Jeff is one of the co-founders of Rect, and now he's our chief
Okay.
business officer and business.
Are
He's
they
our
with
business partner.
Rogue now? I can't remember.
Yes.
With Rogue, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Rect owns Rogue.
Yeah. Instead of Envy, they went with Rogue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was like a whole group of people in this area. So like Rogue, yeah, there's like a lot of names in esports that came from this area.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even general, like so the general manager of Ghost Gaming was from Rock
Yeah,
Hill.
Rob. Yeah. We
Yeah.
were supposed to meet up one time, and I think he had like a family emergency or something. He's like,
Super great guy. I've been talking to him on. It's another guy knows nothing about like what's the future of like. So I've been trying to dig at him for like the future of Rocket League because
dude,
that's just my thing, and no one knows, dude.
you're SL, man.
Can I make a prediction? I think. Oh, you guys are gonna hate this. This is my prediction that I'm almost certain will happen. I think all of the franchise leagues that exist currently will get demolished by new games that come out that are better, and those will end up being new franchise
Even
games.
League of Legends.
Oh yeah, League of Legends, all of them. I think all of them will get smoked. A new MOBA will come out. Somebody will create a new MOBA, and it'll be better than League of Legends, and people will all shift.
Oh man, that's bold. That is bold. I'll give it to you on everything but League. I cannot see Riot being dethroned. Not within the next like 20 years. Dude, you're getting flamed from chat.
That's cool. I'll get flamed for it. I don't care. I
no.
just know that like our technology is gonna keep improving. Developers are gonna keep moving and want to create new
There's a girl.
games.
Look, everyone in chat.
Yeah.
There's a girl here.
Oh my gosh.
I agree with VR. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, VR could get like there could be a
Did you
new
guys see that?
esports
It was
of
like some shooter game championship in VR. I caught it on like a Facebook live stream one time, and they were on pads like rolling around and running and playing in VR.
What?
It was
Like
$2,000.
Counter Strike. I've seen Counter Strike VR, which is pretty sick actually.
It was some random. I'd have to look it up, but I didn't
Yeah.
even think about VR. Yeah, I think that's 50-50. I don't think.
I could be wrong. I'm just
Well, there
that's
is a
my
game
shot.
right now that's
shot in the
on VR. It's like AR VR. It's kind of like in a mix. Like you put the headset on, you got like the blasters, and you can pull shields up, and you can throw like those. And it's a team-based game, so it's like 3-on-3.
Yeah.
It's almost like a dodgeball court, and instead of there being physical dodgeballs, it's like energy balls you're throwing.
Let's see.
Right. I wanna do the Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z. I want to be able to do that in VR. That's what I'd like. I want to play Dragon Ball Z VR.
No, I just gonna play World of Warcraft VR, bro.
Oh.
Let me heal you.
Dude, you're talking Ready Player One stuff right here, brother. I don't know.
No, Gundam.
Oh, that'd be sick too.
Yeah,
I'd be all about
let's
that.
be honest. Like, did you guys ever watch, like in the '90s,
Yeah.
like G Gundam?
Yeah,
Wing
Gundam
Fight
Wing.
stuff?
Yeah, dude.
That would
I watch the
be
Cartoon
cool.
Network. You think I'm crazy?
I'm not a mech anime guy, man. I cannot get into mech anime. Like, it's not my thing, dude. I will watch like the fantasy animes, like Seven Deadly Sins, Black Clover, all that stuff. But you put me in a mech anime, it's like, ugh. Like all I think about is like Voltron and stuff like that.
Okay, well, see, you're just watching the wrong stuff, dude. I don't know what to tell you on that one, other than watch a good anime.
I've got my Crunchyroll subscription and like my shows. There's not. I don't know of any good anime to watch right now. I'm ran out of stuff.
I'm gonna open it up. Just so you guys can keep talking after this. So if you guys want to in the chat, if you have any questions for us you want to answer, we're probably gonna wrap up the podcast pretty soon. So go ahead, flood your answers. We'll answer some of them, and then we'll probably end it from there.
See, it's more people linking like mech anime stuff. Like, man, come on.
I mean, have you been watching Demon Slayer? Like,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the artwork. The artwork in that is insane.
Yeah.
I like that.
You guys are
Did you
nerds.
ever Gundam? If you're gonna watch Mecha Iron-Blooded Orphans, if you like the modern artwork and like the gritty, gory, maybe not, gory, bloody kind of stuff, then that's a good Gundam. That's a good mecha.
The closest thing I'll get to a mech anime I'm about to get like destroyed that I don't even like, and it's not really even mech, is Full Metal Alchemist. It's just like even that to me is like, no, no. Iron-blooded orphans. There's another one.
Okay.
I think you just got a free pass on that one.
I know. I'm surprised because usually like people are like, what? How do you not like? But I mean, it's the same with. Well, I mean, see, like I grew up like watching like old Shonen Jump, like Bleach. I loved Bleach.
Yeah.
When I went to ECU, dude, I was playing World of Warcraft all the time. I had anime on the TV. If I wasn't at my fraternity house, like guaranteed I'm in there doing that. Or hanging out with all the ladies because your boy was a
Oh
ladies.
yeah, your boy.
Right,
Oh yeah, he was getting lit. Yeah,
My
he's
wife's
so
not around
cool.
to say that.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up the podcast. Gid, I'll give you the last shout out. If you want to shout out to your mom, your channel, your whatever, here's your moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate you guys having me. Again, everybody came from Simplicity and CATAWBA to support us. But just really, all the Charlotte people, please keep showing up, supporting CLT Esports, the colleges, everything. I'm really excited for the future. So I just want everyone to come together.
Come together.
Right
Gotcha.
now.
All right, I'm not doing that. You guys are on your own.
You gotta say over me. Say over me, and we're ending the podcast.
Oh, no, we're good.
Do it.
All right, over me.